Let me tell you something most gardening books skip. Some of the most powerful soil building techniques ever used weren't invented in fancy laboratories or sold in shiny bags at agro stores. They were born during war. During World War II, families didn't have access to chemical fertilizers, imported inputs, or expensive miracle products. Ships were blocked, supplies were rationed, farms had to survive on whatever people could make with their hands, and yet, yields increased. Vegetables grew faster, soil became darker and richer, communities fed themselves. That's when I realized something that changed how I garden forever. Healthy soil doesn't need corporations, it needs knowledge. Today on Soil Stories, I want to share 6 forgotten soil secrets from that era. Simple, low-cost methods that still outperform many modern fertilizers. And trust me, once you learn these, you'll never look at your soil the same way again. Secret 1. Compost wasn't optional, it was life or death. During World War II, there was no throwing food scraps away. Every peel, leaf, and leftover went back to the soil. People treated compost like gold. They layered kitchen waste, weeds, ash, manure, and dry leaves into piles and turned them weekly. Within weeks they had dark, crumbly humus that transformed lifeless ground into fertile beds. What most gardeners miss today is this. Compost doesn't just feed plants, it builds soil structure, holds water during drought, increases microbes, and slowly releases nutrients for months. When I started adding thick compost to my beds instead of relying on fertilizers alone, something magical happened. My soil stayed moist longer. My Sukuma wiki grew deeper green. Even during hot days, plants didn't wilt. That's compost power. If you do nothing else, do this. Compost is your foundation. Secret 2. Wood ash replaced chemical fertilizers. During the war, factories that made fertilizers switched to producing weapons. Farmers had to improvise, so they turned to cooking fires. Wood ash became their natural mineral booster. Ash contains potassium, calcium, magnesium, and trace minerals, exactly what fruiting plants like tomatoes, potatoes, and beans crave. Instead of buying potash fertilizer, they simply sprinkled cooled ash lightly into the soil or mixed it into compost. The result? Stronger stems, sweeter fruits, better flowering. I still save ash from my kitchen fire and apply a small handful around heavy feeders. But, here's the trick. Don't overdo it. A little goes a long way. Too much can make soil too alkaline. Used wisely though, it's one of the cheapest soil boosters on earth. Secret 3. Cover crops were the invisible fertilizer. Victory gardens during World War II rarely left soil bare. After harvest they planted beans, peas, clover, or lentils. Not for food, for the soil. These plants pull nitrogen from the air and store it in their roots. When chopped and buried, they release that nitrogen back into the soil naturally. It's like free fertilizer growing right under your feet. Modern farmers pay for nitrogen. Back then, they grew it. Whenever I finish harvesting a bed, I sow fast-growing legumes. In a few weeks, the soil looks alive again. When I dig them in, the next crop explodes with growth. If your soil feels tired, this method alone can revive it. Secret 4. Mulch was used like armor. Water was precious during the war. People couldn't waste it, so they covered the soil with anything they could find. Straw, grass clippings, leaves, shredded paper. This mulch acted like armor. It reduced evaporation, stopped weeds, protected soil microbes, and slowly decomposed into organic matter. Bare soil loses life quickly. Covered soil thrives. The first time I tried thick mulching, I was shocked. My watering reduced by almost half. The soil stayed cool and soft even under the hot sun. Earthworms multiplied like crazy. That's when I understood. Mulch isn't decoration, it's protection. If you want living soil, never leave it naked. Secret 5. Kitchen waste became liquid fertilizer. Nothing was wasted during World War II. People soaked vegetable scraps, weeds, or manure in water to make these nutrient-rich plant teas. These homemade liquids fed plants instantly. Think of it as compost, but faster. Nutrients dissolve into water, making them immediately available to roots. Today, we buy bottled liquid feeds. Back then, they made their own for free. Sometimes I soak weeds or leftover greens in a bucket for a few days, dilute it, and water my crops. Within days, leaves turn darker and healthier. It smells terrible, yes, but the soil loves it. And, honestly, the plants don't care about the smell. They care about nutrients. Secret 6. Community knowledge was the real superpower. Here's the biggest secret nobody talks about. During World War II, gardeners shared everything: seeds, compost tips, failures, successes. There were no trade secrets. Knowledge spread freely. One neighbor's experiment became everyone's solution. That's why techniques improved so quickly. Today, companies sell you dependency. Back then, communities shared independence. And that's exactly why I created Soil Stories, because soil wisdom should belong to gardeners, not corporations. When we share what works, everyone grows, literally. You might think these are just old-fashioned tricks. They're not. They're biology. Soil hasn't changed. Plants haven't changed. Only marketing has. Healthy soil still needs organic matter, minerals, microbes, moisture, and protection. And every single World War II method supports these naturally. No expensive inputs, no complicated formulas, just simple, smart gardening. And honestly, that's the beauty of it. The best solutions are often the oldest ones. If you want richer soil starting this season, begin small. Compost everything, save your ash, plant cover crops, mulch thickly, make liquid feeds, share knowledge. Do this consistently and you'll notice something incredible. Your soil turns darker, softer, alive. And when soil's alive, everything grows better. Sometimes the greatest gardening lessons weren't discovered in universities. They were learned during hard times when people had no choice but to work with nature instead of against it. World War II gardeners proved something powerful. You don't need fancy products to grow food. You just need living soil. And once you understand that, no one can sell you magic fertilizer again. If this story helped you see your soil differently, you'll love what we share every week here on Soil Stories. Subscribe, share this with a fellow gardener, and let's keep these forgotten soil secrets alive, one garden at a time.